Going back and looking at all the things that happened in the game, I mean, again, we had some, I guess like in every game, you have some opportunities that you need to make when they happen, and we didn't do that. And I'm gonna, again, I'll give credit to their quarterback. I think he did a heck of a job. I thought we, on the most part, going in the game, wanted to try to cage and contain him with our defensive line, and I thought there were a lot of times that we were in really good position to do that. And then there were some times where he just made some plays, just got out and made some plays, and he can run. You know, offensively, we were too inconsistent to be successful. You know, we weren't able to run the ball efficiently, like I talked about Saturday night. And we've got to do a much better job of that to be the offense that we need to be.
Or mistakes in blocking or in assignments or that kind of thing?
Probably a little bit of both. You know, a little bit of both. You're preparing for multiple fronts when you're preparing for them, and they didn't necessarily run all the fronts that we expected them to run, but they did do quite a bit of movement up front with those guys, and you know, I thought their safeties got involved very well.
After the game that you didn't do enough to put your team in the right position, what would you have done differently?
Well, one thing is I would have just, you know, I would have probably limited the plays that we were going to run in the game and probably just worked on those plays. Unfortunately, when you're working against multiple fronts like that and you're preparing for different fronts, not all plays are good versus every front. So you know, in that case, we had too much offense in, and you know, had to prepare for too much offense and then weren't able to use it. So it was a waste of time.
Find the offense for this week?
I think every week we talk about making sure we keep it simple enough, you know, and I don't foresee us having as much offense in as we did this past week. No.
Well, your point where, just for the sake of maybe breaking some of the monotony, do you maybe change things up a little bit as far as how you go about something? Not dramatically, maybe just, you know, Tuesday before practice, you just do something a little bit different just to kind of shake the tree a little bit and kind of reset a little bit.
We talk about that every week. We talk about it as a staff on, you know, what changes need to be made, what kind of things we can do practice-wise. You know, this week will be a little bit different anyway as we prepare for the triple option. So it changes a lot about the way we practice. So, yeah, but we do. We talk about it constantly. You know, what things we can do differently to you know, to help put us over the top.
Does that include maybe some of the routines, some of the pre-practice routine or something like that, just to maybe get them?
Counts everything. I mean, everything's in play when we're talking about that. And you know, when you're sitting in the situation we're in, and we've been so close so many weeks, and we haven't been able to get over the hump. You know, you're looking for you're trying to leave no stone unturned when you're looking for changes that can be made that can help us win.
Close the last 3 weeks. Do you sense at all any frustration starting to kick in?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's been plenty of frustration.
I mean, is it visible in the kids?
Is it visible? I don't know. I mean, it's something that we talk about. You know, we talk about it as a team. You know, we talk about how close we are and the difference in winning and losing and what we need to do. And yeah, I think everybody's frustrated. Nobody's happy with what's going on, and so everybody's searching and everybody's looking to me. You know, I'm the leader of this team, and so they're looking to me for answers, and I'm the one responsible for giving them answers.
Can frustration become despair? And if so, how do you guard against that?
Can if you let it.
How do you guard against that?
You got a bunch of, you know, first of all, you got a bunch of good, you got guys on this team that really care and they want to be successful, and they're doing the things that we ask, and so they got to keep trusting, keep believing in each other, and our leaders are doing a really good job of that. I mean, we got guys stepping up every single day, you know, talking to the team about what needs to happen and and it's not a berating type of leadership. It's a positive leadership. I mean, they all realize how close they are.
Have you found yourself at all at this point, at any point of the season, where you haven't been able to come up with that answer with your players continuing to look?
Well, since we haven't been successful, then that's the way I look at it, is that I haven't come up with that answer. And that falls on me. You know, I'm the one that has to put them in a position to be successful.
Do you have an updated list on who's officially out for the season?
I don't have one with me.
Out for the season? Has it changed since last when you told us last week?
To my knowledge, as of today, it hasn't changed.
So
That's the best I can do.
okay. So Sarad, Wolfo, Branch.
Cater.
I'm sorry.
Sutton.
And that's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Larry, you touched on this after the game, but has there been any more discussion about adding on the 12th game?
There has been. I mean, Bubba, and I know that he and Rick Steinbacher are working on it, you know, and it's not something that I talk about with him every day, but it's definitely something that I know that they're working on.
What's going on?
Yes.
Larry, with only 1 week to prepare for the triple option, does it help that you play these guys every year? Is there any kind of like carryover from one year to the next, or is it install and you just kind of have to really kind of?
Well, there's carryover for the guys that have played in it, you know, and played against it. But the new guys, there's no carryover whatsoever, and so you have just a few days to get them prepared and get them ready. You know, so it's. I mean, that's the nature of that beast, and so they know that what you're going to do is going to be simple. And you're going to have to put a plan together that everybody has their option responsibilities and they understand what they're doing. And so Paul knows that it'll be simple about what he's going to see. And you know, he's been doing this for I don't know how many years. He's been coaching the triple option. I mean, he's, you know, one of the best in the country at it. And so he's got his answers for whatever you're going to do. And you know, if you watched in that last game that he played, once he gets something that you don't have an answer for, he's just going to keep rolling with it, you know, and that's why I think you saw the quarterback had, what, 40-something carries, you know, and, you know, that's what he does, and he's good at it.
There's so many elements to that, you know, assignment integrity, cut blocks, all that. What do you emphasize most? I mean, obviously you can't deal with all of it, right?
Yeah, it's more about assignment discipline, you know, that's it, because if you can, if you start thinking too much about what you're doing, you're not going to be physical enough, all right, and you're going to get knocked off the ball. So you have to know your job and be able to do your job and be disciplined enough to be able to do your job and do it and be physical, you know. So if you're thinking and wondering what you should be doing, you're going to have a hard time. So, and that's why, I mean, that's why in the triple option, you know, defenses are going to be very simple in what they do and how they approach it and how they try to defend it. And so Paul knows that. Paul's going to take advantage of that.
With where things are now, you got 4 games left, you have that red shirt rule where guys can play 4 games. Are you at a point where maybe you start looking at some of those kids that you can play a couple games and preserve the red shirt?
Yeah, we've been looking at that all season. I mean, we're keeping track of that all season, and you've seen there's been some. I mean, Chris Collins played this last week. I mean, you're seeing guys get into the game in different situations, and you know, it's more about for them getting some reps out there, some real reps in a game, so that you know, when their time comes, that they'll have the experience and they'll be better at it.
Will there be more of an emphasis on maybe we're going to get this kid in for a few games to get him X number of reps because he's got to have the experience, we want to get on film? Or
We could, depending on the player, yes, and depending on what our situation is at that position.
How did Chris grade out, by the way?
He did well. He did a good job. You know, Chris is right now, I mean, a guy that gives you, you know, he got some pressure on the quarterback. You know, he was able to get to him. He's a step away on one of the touchdowns. I mean, he just is right there, you know, and so he's, you know, it was good for him. It was good for him to get that experience.
Larry, what's been kind of the arc of Trey Morrison's season? I mean, it seems like he's just playing better and better each week.
He has. I mean, he gains more confidence every week. You know, he's still a true freshman, but he's got a lot of game reps now. So we really don't look at him that way. I mean, he had you know, he just had one mistake the other day, one busted coverage, and it hurt us. But other than that, I mean, the guy is, he's been a warrior all season, you know. I mean, he's played really well for us, and he's learning as he goes. He's gaining more confidence. He's being more vocal out there, and those are all things that he's going to really be a good football player down the road.
Has that been any surprise for the coaching staff, or is that something during recruitment you say, hey, maybe this kid can contribute early?
Well, you a lot of times, you know, you're gonna with your skill guys, and you never know about your linemen, you know, but with your skill guys, you think sometimes you got a chance for some of those guys, and we thought Trey had a chance. We really did, because especially when he came here and we saw what he was able to do in the summer.
That's when Daz Newsome development. He continues to.
Yeah, Daz gets better every week. I mean, Daz is really learning the receiver position, you know, so. I mean, he's natural when you put the ball in his hands. I mean, you don't have to tell him what to do when the ball's in his hands. I mean, he can go. So he's getting better as a receiver, understanding concepts, understanding how to use leverage, how to get open on a guy, how to use his body, all those different things. You know, that route that he and Nate hooked up on the first touchdown, I mean, was a beautiful route. I mean, he turned the guy around, and Nate threw the ball on time, and he was right there. I mean, so. But those are the kind of things that he can do, because he's very elusive.
Have you surpassed your expectations, or?
He won't surpass my expectations.
In the past, you've said that your tempo offense is about getting to the line quickly, not necessarily getting off a lot of snaps. But the last 2 weeks, you seem to be snapping the ball faster. Is that game plan situation, or is that a bigger change?
That was more game plan. That was more game plan for the last two opponents, and some things that we were doing different with formations. And we thought actually we go back and look at the tempo things that we did, they were successful for us, And so I mean, every time that we can get into that mode, we get into a better rhythm offensively, and we're able to move the ball better.
We've noticed with Nathan, you all are throwing it downfield, at least in the last couple of games, more as opposed to throwing it behind the scrimmage. Why is that, or is that
It's game plan. I mean, it's game plan. It's based on what we see and what a defense has given us. It's everything. Everything is based on trying to take advantage of what the defense has given us. I mean, there was a week where we handed Daz the ball on the speed sweep because it was there. We didn't do it this past week because it wasn't there. So it's really about what we see when we're game planning against an opponent and what they're trying to do, what they're trying to take away, and so we want to try to take advantage of what they are giving us.
Does any of it have to do with Nathan maybe being more comfortable and improving?
I mean, yeah, I think he's, if you watch Nathan, I mean, he's taking care of the football much better. He's doing a good job. He's not throwing the ball into coverage. I mean, so he's a little bit more comfortable back there. And in a game like what Virginia does in the secondary stuff, it can be difficult for a guy. So he deciphered things pretty good, I thought, the other day, and I think he is. I think he's gaining confidence every week.